All right, welcome to The Explainer. If you're running a business in the UAE, listen up, because the entire landscape has just changed. I mean, fundamentally. There's a new corporate tax in town, and figuring out what it means for your business, it's not just important, it's absolutely essential. So let's dive in and break down exactly what you need to know.
So this is the million-dollar question, right? For as long as we can remember, the UAE has basically been the poster child for tax-free business. But that's changing. So is that era officially over? Well, the answer isn't a straight yes or no. It's a little more complicated, and it really depends on your specific situation.
Okay, so let's get right into it. The UAE's new tax, and yeah, it really is the end of an era. And I want to be clear here, this isn't just some small update to the rulebook. We're talking about a massive shift in how business works in the region, really bringing the UAE into step with the rest of the world.
So here's the headline. Effective June 1st, 2023, there's a federal corporate tax. Now, the key thing to understand is that this isn't a tax on all the money you make. No. It's a tax on your profits. You know, the money that's left over after you've paid all your bills and expenses. It's a big move, and it's all about getting the UAE aligned with how most other countries do things.
Okay, so we know there's a tax, but the big questions are, how much is it, really? And who actually has to pay it? This is where we need to talk numbers. And the number you've probably heard thrown around is 9%, but that's not the whole story, not by a long shot. This is where things get really interesting.
9%. Yeah, that's the headline rate. When people talk about the new corporate tax, this is the number they mean. It's the standard rate on taxable profits. But, and trust me, this is a huge but, it doesn't apply to every business, and it certainly doesn't apply to every single dirham of profit you make.
And here is the single most important detail, especially for all you small business owners out there. There's a threshold, a magic number, if you will. 375,000 dirhams in taxable profit. If your profit is under that number, guess what? Your tax rate is zero, zilch. The 9% only, and I mean only, kicks in for the profit you earn above that line. So it's absolutely not a flat tax on all your earnings. All right, now for the part I know most of you have been waiting for, the good news. Because even with that 9% rule, there is a huge exception built right into the law. And it's designed specifically to help out smaller businesses. This is the big one.
3 million dirhams. Burn this number into your brain, because this is totally different from that profit number we just talked about. This has nothing to do with profit. Nope. This one is all about your total revenue.
So what is this? It's called small business relief. And it's pretty simple. If your total revenue, that's all the money your business brings in the door before you subtract any expenses, is under that 3 million dirham mark, you can choose to be treated as if you have zero taxable income. It's an incredible benefit, and right now it's valid for tax periods all the way through the end of 2026.
Now, of course, there are a few catches. This relief isn't a free-for-all. For example, if you're part of a big multinational corporation, or if you're in certain sectors like banking, you're probably not going to qualify. Oh, and the government's wise to any tricks. They've put in rules so you can't just, slice up one big business into a bunch of smaller ones just to duck under the limit. Nice try, but no.
So right about now, you might be thinking, phew, my revenue's under 3 mil, I'm good, I can just relax. And this is where I need you to pay very close attention, because there is a catch, a non-negotiable, absolutely critical catch. Just because you qualify for relief does not mean you can just ignore all this.
Okay, if you remember one thing from this entire explainer, make it this. You do not get this relief automatically. I'll say it again. It is not automatic. You have to actively choose it. You have to elect to take it when you file your tax return. If you sit back and do nothing, you get nothing. Simple as that.
So what does that mean you have to do? Well, it's a 3-step process, and it's mandatory for everyone, no exceptions. Step 1, you have to register your business with the Federal Tax Authority, the FTA. Step 2, you have to file a corporate tax return every single year. And Step 3, that's when, inside your tax return, you make the choice to apply for small business relief, assuming you qualify. Again, these steps are not optional.
Okay, let's talk about time. The clock is ticking. This law is already live. Right now, as we speak, registration is open on the FTA's platform. It's called Imara Tax. And honestly, if you haven't done this yet, you need to get on it. Then, the other big deadline to remember is for your tax return. You have to file it within 9 months after your company's financial year ends. So, let's bring this all home. What's the ultimate takeaway here? After all this talk about numbers and rules, it boils down to one simple idea. Compliance is key.
It's not really about how much tax you might owe. It's about making sure you've ticked all the right boxes.
And just to make sure we're crystal clear, let's look at those two big numbers one last time. First, you've got your 375,000 dirham threshold. That's all about profit, and it decides if you pay 0% or 9%. Then you have the 3 million dirham threshold. That's all about total revenue, and it decides if you can even apply for the relief in the first place. Two totally different numbers for two totally different jobs.
And this, right here, is the absolute bottom line. I don't care if your profit is 0, it doesn't matter if your revenue is well under the 3 million mark, every single business has to register for corporate tax and file a return, period. Because if you don't, you're looking at penalties and fines, and that is a headache nobody needs.
So, we're going to end right where we started, with a question for you. It's fantastic that you might end up owing 0% tax. I mean, that's great news. But the real question, the one you need to ask yourself tonight, is this. Are you 100% compliant? Have you done everything you need to do? Because in this new era for business in the UAE, believe me, compliance is everything.